Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities by Steven. You're talking to Steven. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, get that bell notification on too so you don't miss out on a video. Welcome back to the channel where last time we were in the city, we were building up some cool non-industries DLC farms. And what did that mean? Well, it's just farms that we weren't really planning out to be major industry areas. Just, fun little details that make, realistic sense for single family owned farms. And, they take up a lot of space in your towns and your communities on the edges of your city. So I think it's a great way to kind of finish off the outsides of your towns and your cities. We did some really cool things with some of them where we sold off land to developers, which is a very common practice. And yeah, I think it turned out great. Oh, here we are. And here are some of the farms. So we got the Ewing Ranch, and we got Tim's Ranch and Orchard. We got the Henderson Orchard over here, where the Henderson farm actually sold off some land to a developer at one point. And then we have the failed Barnes Orchard House, or failed Barnes Orchard, which Corning Solar Limited bought up and turned into a solar farm. So there we go. That's kind of what we did last episode, including this subdivision over here. And then I also added this extension on this side as well because it was fairly empty. But what's in store for today's episode? Well, at the end of last episode, I noted that we have, for the first time in a little while, a full 3-week episode ahead of us. So what are we going to do with this 3-week episode? And I had a few options, and the one I've settled on is we're going to be starting the oil industry. So we're going to be working out in this pocket of the map. Now, why the oil industry? Well, it's the last industry we don't have in the city. Oil is actually a pretty major factor in the economy of Alberta, and this is an Alberta-themed city. So we definitely needed to get this in this series. Also, talking game mechanics, we really need to unlock the rest of the unique factories, and we need to be able to use some of the unique factories that use oil in their production. So in order to kind of start off some of the more industrial parts of the map and the series, especially up in this part, I think we're going to get some factories. We need to make sure that we get oil. And in order to do that, we need to start the oil at some point. So we're going to be starting the oil today, and then we'll be kind of developing up this area as a whole throughout the week, while kind of simultaneously looking at the oil industry. So, when I think of oil in Alberta, I think of the tar sands, the oil sands up in the north part of the province. They are absolutely horrible for the environment, totally destructive into the environment, but this series isn't set in that part of the country where there are tar sands, whereas in the south of Alberta, there's more of like the classic, oil wells with the pumps going up and down like you kind of see in westerns and throughout America with like the Texas, big oil drum or oil pumps going up and down all the time. And you see that a lot, including orphaned wells, so just little pockets of oil throughout the map. So we'll try and play into the southern Alberta oil economy theme rather than the northern Alberta oil economy theme. Mainly because I also just don't want to promote that. The tar sands are pretty gross. So yeah, this is where we'll be starting the oil industry. And we had this pin for a long time. There's actually a ton of oil on the map. Oh, that's terrain. And a lot of it's going to be where we're planning our airport. So we kind of sectioned ourselves off into this side, and that's okay. I think maybe we can have some of these orphaned wells, closer to the airport, but I don't know the dimensions of Michael J. Fox International Airport yet. So which is why we haven't done anything over here, because I want to make sure that we get the airport in, but we need to make sure we have enough money to support the airport. So in a way, it's a big, huge balancing act. So we'll get the oil industry in here. We have the town of Pulaski over here nearby, and then another new addition is Baker City, close to where the zoo is and the airport. So a great thing about starting this industry area is we already have our supporting interchange already built. We built this up a little while ago. It's just a simple little park low fun little interchange here. Seems like there's some issue happening right here, so let me sort this out. There we go. So hopefully cars won't be stopping there anymore. And yeah, so it's a pretty good interchange. It's connecting to the major highway, but also we have this road running right through here, which we built up a little while ago in the same episode, which runs through Peabody, Chapman Creek, and then exits the map. We also have a road running through here by our ghost town, from a few weeks ago. And this road, it kind of already runs right through the middle of where we're planting the oil industry, so we're going to run it off of this. And I think in a way it could also play into the lore of the haunted Wilson house. So, you know, first things first, when I'm thinking of an industry area, you got to plan what you really need. So you need to have all the major buildings, all the extraction, all the production, and you need to wait to move those goods. So I'm thinking, how do you move goods the best in City Skylines? Well, cargo trains. So where is the only location on our current rail networks that have like a level terrain line? And that is right in here. So we could totally get a cargo station like right in this little box that I'm drawing on the map and, you know, call it a day. That could work. We could also draw a line off of this line as like a bit of a spur line into a different part of the area to build up like a larger cargo network. And I think that's probably what we're going to do. So we have this small little valley here, and I think we can just fill it in and create a bit more of a larger cargo station. So pretty much what I'm planning on doing is just grabbing our height here, and we'll select this height right here where the terrain kind of levels out. And then basically I'm just going to level it out and kind of fill in this hole that we have going on over here. So that's not a ton of earth. It's rather large, but I think it'll be worth it in the end, especially with the main gate needing to be pretty close, pretty nearby. I think we might need to re-slope this terrain here along this road. And I think we mentioned that when we were building this road out to the ghost town, that I just kind of placed it in so that we could edit it later. So now that we have this, let's kind of plan out how we're going to approach this oil cargo station. So if we're looking at the map as a whole, if we center the map like this and we look about right here, now north is to the top of the map, south is to the bottom of the screen, west is to the left, and east is to the right. So a lot of oil in Alberta gets exported, and it could either go north to oil production facilities, it could go south to the US where it's often sold, and then it could also go west towards the markets in the ports of the West Coast. So I think if we kind of lean the rails towards the oil going west, I think that would make sense. So let's kind of just roughly plan out a bit of a cargo yard in here, and we will be right back. All right, so there we go, a double train yard. I think that's sufficient to kind of provide for both markets, or, you know, the many markets. And then in this case, this one goes, I'm just gonna tweak this really quickly. Might need to do a bit more work on kind of tweaking all these nodes. But this one, you know, we have a nice smooth connection where it'll be able to transition between both sides. So I expect that this line might be a little heavy on the traffic. So what can you do to kind of protect it from that? Well, in between here, we need to make sure that there's enough room for a train to fit entirely. So I think this is going to be a sufficient size just for the transitional aspect to it. And then over on this side, we need to do the same thing. So technically, I think maybe we should be removing this node on this in this case. And I think a train can fit all in there. If not, we'll just kind of play it safe and move this one back a little bit. But I'm hoping that this will, all in all, be a good functioning cargo train system for the region here. So we'll place the water pipes for this town. All right, so now we need to kind of think about the main building of this area, right? So if we're thinking about the main building, I'm thinking about like the head office of the area. You know, Pulaski Enterprises Oil or something like that, or Suncor, or maybe we'll make up like a real town's name or something like that, or a real oil company's name. But let's first of all level out some of this terrain here with this road. I would like the road here to be at the same height as this train station for just a few blocks. So let's do that really quickly. Okay, so we did that, and it looks like this was actually lower than I realized. So we'll just fix it really easily with the network multi-tool. And what we'll do here, and make sure you select the right thing, holy moly. And we'll bring this out to about here on a slope. And 3.1% I think should be sufficient for cars. However, we are going to be having trucks come through here, right? So let's add in a node, and then we'll make this node at the same height as that. And hopefully that's enough clearance. If not, I think we might need to lower it down a little bit. And I think we're actually good. We're good. We'll say we're good. And then let's just reslope it from here. So we'll slope from here. And this time we'll slope it all the way to there. 2.5%, that's pretty good. So then this gives us a nice opportunity right in here to have our main building entrance. So let's do some terrain work really quickly. Okay, so then we're going to slope from here, and we'll slope it all the way out to, I don't know, let's just say here for now. 4.2%. Let's actually slope a little bit farther. 4%. Okay, that's good because I don't suspect that traffic or oil traffic is going to go this way. Whoa, not what I wanted. I was hoping for this one. So we'll smooth out the terrain. Ooh, smooth. There we go. Out to about there. And there we go. So I have a nice big cliff face here. And I think this is a pretty cool little entrance. So now let's kind of fix up this road. We've already kind of leveled it out to where we want it to be. So let's get a good road on here. And I think the industry road is probably the best bet. However, we need to make sure that we have sufficient lane mathematics on here. So let's go with this one here. Back it up 2 slots. So now there is dedicated turning lanes for all areas here. And it looks like the turning lanes on this intersection are not that great anyways. So we fixed it. There we go. Actually, you know what? Looking at this interchange now, let's do some tweaks to it. Okay, so, you know, just squared it up, added a crosswalk, which is going to be important for people walking to their job in this area. And then also, I think maybe we can do a bit of smoothing in this zone as well to kind of help out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we can add or change the road. So I know I said I like the industry road for it, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe we should go with a medianed road throughout this zone. So we're actually going to be chipping away at the cliff face here, but that's okay. So let's bring the median road into the point where we're going to have our turn off for the oil fields, or the oil refinery at least. And we'll say that's right here. Why not? So then we're going to transition that road to a more classic styled road. Now, I'd still like a road that people can walk on, so we're going to go with the rural 2-lane country road because I know people can walk on it. And we are going to bring this one up to pretty much the marker for this small town out here, and we'll touch on that in the future. Okay, so why did we transition this into a different area? Well, it's because we're going to be having a major turnoff into here, and you know, a lot of the traffic is going to be just for this, so we're going to have a dedicated turning lane on both ends for it. So let's now kind of choose that road on how we're going to approach this. Well, I was thinking about a couple road options we have, and I was thinking maybe the airport ones might be nice, but we don't have it unlocked yet. So maybe we just go with the industrial road for now as the original kind of entry point into this area. And we just need just like a little bit of road, just like that. And make sure prop and tree enter key is off. Oh no, do I undo that? I cannot. So I just want to get these trees back. And why don't we also select those, add some of that back in. All right, and then right in here, because there probably will be some traffic flowing through here, what we'll need is we just need a simple turning lane in here. So now let's tweak up this interchange because it's a pretty major interchange for this build. So we'll square it up with a node controller, and then I also want this one to be aligned with this one. And because we did that, I think we're going to need to just pull this one back ever so slightly like that. And there we go. It's a lot cleaner than it used to be. Okay, so now we have it detailed out, and that makes perfect sense to me. All right, so a lot of the stuff that's going to be happening in and around here is the refining part of the oil industry. So what I like really doing with my industry areas is not keeping it all necessarily in one place. Now they can be close by, they can be integrated, but in reality, where you're extracting the oil isn't always necessarily where it's being refined. So in that case, I want to have all the refining, the secondary aspects to the oil production in this zone, because that is what's going to be exported. We're not going to be exporting crude oil, even though in reality I think we would in Alberta. But for game mechanics reasons, we're going to be needing to have petroleum refineries and the other oil refineries, including plastic production, which we're going to get in this zone as well. So this is going to be kind of more of the refining parts of it, and then we'll have the extraction in another location. So because of that, we're going to need to kind of section it off into a few areas. So first things first, we need a security gate. So that is going to be used for kind of check-in, and we'll go with the large one. This is just the toll booth. That's all it is, and I really like the toll booths as this because, you know, one, it helps us get some cash, but two, it also just really looks like a security gate, in my opinion. All right, there we go. Clean, simple. So we have 2 lanes going into 4, and then we're going to split it off into a couple different groups. So this is going to be a pretty major avenue running down through here. A lot of the traffic in this zone is going to use this as well. So, you know, the towns, now while the towns of Walsenburg have 2 cargo facilities nearby, I suspect that the nearby towns are also going to be using this to ship in and out cargo. Just that's how the game works. So we want to make sure that we have a nice, clean, simple connection into here. So we have 2 lanes going into 4 lanes, and I think we should also continue that back down into 2 lanes. And then through here, we'll have basically just like a turn off. So they'll come through here and then they'll run into it. Actually, you know what? I think we need to do a few more little tweaks so that the traffic for this one in particular is going to flow seamlessly. Okay, so in a way, it's kind of like almost like a Michigan left system. So we'll have it so that cars turning into here will then split off into their respective lanes. So they'll go onto the right-hand side if they're going to go over into this side of the map. But if they're going to go to the plastic production facilities over on this side, they will have to stick to the left side of this. And then there we go. So then they'll stay straight, they'll go through, and then they'll take this turn. And then we'll also have the systems just kind of flow together into this zone. And then over here, we'll have a bit of a cool little option here. So because we're not going to bring the rails any farther, what we can do is we can then get goods to ship out onto this network over here, because this one is going to be shipping goods in towards the city. This one is shipping goods out of the city. So let's make sure that we have a sufficient connection through here. And I think this is a good distance in between. Let's try and line this up. But then we're running into this same issue where cars will be turning left into here. So I think in a way we can kind of just forego that aspect of this by just simply just kind of forgetting about that part on this side alone. Why can't I just delete this? There we go. And let's just connect that up. So technically cars will need to be on the left-hand side if they're going to be going into this cargo station, and that's okay. And then this is where I suspect that a lot of the oil refinery things are going to be. I think we actually might want to think about doing something opposite to what we did on this side. Mainly because I can see a lot more things happening over here, and I think we just need a two-way, like a two-lane road on this end, and we'll have like a turnaround into here. So in that case, we need a road with a median. Now there's no really good industrial roads with median, so, but this one works. So we'll have this one flow through there like that. And then this one here is actually going to have to be the same thing. But I think we're going to need a 4-lane road, and I think we can roll with the industrial one. There we go, and then that means we can finish this build off now. So this way we have a bit of a bypass if they're going to the cargo station, and then if they're going onto this side, they'll just need to continue. So I think we're going to need some dedicated turning lanes on this one, and then this one as well. And, you know, I don't know if we're going to be going in this direction, but I suspect that we will be. So we'll just say that we're talking about going to this station over here. So a train or a truck will be going into this lane, and then they're not going to go to this one, so they're going to bypass this. And I sped this up so that it'll encourage them to use this one instead of trying to go to this road. And then they'll get onto this one, and then they'll go this way, where they'll be able to turn left. And then they need to do a loop in order to go into this one, because a lot of the stuff that's going to be happening for this production facility is going to really be occurring over here. So I don't suspect that it's going to be that major of an issue. Now we could create like a bit of like a light in here, light as in like a traffic light, by kind of going like this. So then theoretically trucks could turn into here. So where is the yeah, right there. We chose the exact right spot for it. So let's just back this up a little bit. So now trucks could theoretically be taking a left at this intersection, and that makes sense. But because of the game mechanics, cars might decide that they want to do a bit of a loop. So in order to play into that, what we're going to do is just change this median up, and the reason why the median is there is so that they don't actually just try and turn in. But if we do this, then what we can do is also get like yards on this side. But we might want them to flow smoothly, so maybe we do keep this. Okay, and then let's run this a bit farther. And then right about here, for no particular reason, this is where we're going to have our bit of a turnaround. So we'll have basically build a bit of a roundabout. Okay, so now they'll be able to turn around really smoothly without any issues. So let's just do that. There we go. And for the larger trucks that can't make a sharp turn, they'll have to come through here anyways. And then this way we can get a couple yards on this side. So there we have it. We kind of have the main setup for our cargo yard. Now let's talk about where that main building is going to go. So this is kind of an interesting option that we have. So if we're saying we're going to try to have plastic production on this side and then oil production on this side, I suppose the main building would want to be kind of in between them all, monitoring all the trains and stuff. So let's look at the topography that we have now. There we go. So looks like we're probably going to need to bump this out a little bit farther, or we can start talking about plateauing the industry. And then over here, I think we might want to leave this road available as an option in case we want to swing up into these hills. So I think in a way what we've kind of allowed ourselves to see is that this is probably the best location for the offices. So because of that, let's try and build with the terrain on so we can kind of see what we're doing. And I don't see a lot of traffic coming through here. So what we're going to end up doing is just using a nicer road. We don't necessarily need a median, nor do we even really need parking or anything like that, but let's just go with the basic road altogether. And then let's come out straight from here. Like that. So now let's get that oil industry into here. So industry area, oil industry, bring it into here. All right. So main building. First step of any industry area. So you go into the oil industry, main building, main or industry, oil industry buildings. This one's rather large actually. Okay, well that's pretty good. Let's place this one right here. Let's see what it looks like. So we unlock the small oil pump and some extraction areas. So yeah, I think this is a good slot to have this one on. It's close by. It even has its own security gates as well. So let's just grab this with move it. Okay, yeah, you know what? I really like this placement, but I don't like the trees. So let's fix the trees. So Alt B. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Nice, clean, simple. Now these do level up, so I'm not going to do much to change it. However, I will pull it back as far as we can with the concrete. So maybe a bit closer. Yeah, there we go. So now it looks like they have a bit longer of a drive. All right, so that is the main building that we need, but there are obviously others that we can place in. For example, some main buildings that we might want to think about having in here are buildings that look like other buildings that we can use. So garbage extraction would be really handy in this area because we're so far out of the way. So we could have this, we could also have this. Now this one I think we can place in a different spot. So maybe we don't necessarily need garbage in this area. Post office could be like a different part of the build, the area, like maybe it's a big company and then they have a mailing room, or maybe maybe this is like the foreman's office or something like that, or workers check-in, HR or something like that. But this will also help out with the area. Let's see if there's any other small buildings that we can place. Oh, fire, of course. Now I definitely think we should have fire in this area no matter what, but definitely the fire should be near the main entrance here. So let's place this right on this side. We'll pull this one over into about here. Okay, so now the fire station is close by, so it can quickly access areas should it need. Do we need our own security service? I think so. Why not? It's always good to add more into these office buildings. So we'll have a security office for this area, and the security office should be right beside the security gate, right? So we have a nice little road option right here. Let's go with a no parking road, and let's grab this and place it like this, and then connect up like that, where the security gates are, and then we'll have the police building. So, you know, it's all about strategic placement of buildings. Awesome. Okay, so got a little security gate over in there. That's all good, and I definitely see us getting more parking in here, but I don't want to do anything too much because we're definitely going to be coming in and out of this area in this week because we'll be leveling it up, right? We haven't even allowed the game to play at all. We've been playing this entire time on pause because it's just that important to make sure that you have the main infrastructure in place. So now that we got that in mind, what is next? So we have, you know, everything going smoothly. Now we need to plan out the rest of the build. So we did unlock some buildings when we placed down the original building. So we got some oil production, a small oil pump, and just for now, I'm going to place this right here because I just want to start producing goods. And you know what? We can even place a couple just for now. And then we also got this and this. So the small crude oil tank farm. So that is where crude oil is stored, and crude oil in this game is turned into a couple things. So we can see that. So we get crude oil, and then it goes into petroleum or plastics. So oil factory creates petroleum. Oil factory creates plastics. So by having this, well, maybe we can have a bit of a cut right here actually. Yeah, I like that. So now those post office trucks won't have to go all the way around. Okay, so we're going to need to have the oil storage facilities in a couple places. So one of them is going to be on this side because we're going to have other production, and then we're going to have it on this side as well. So let's place them down. And then now we need to create a bit of a refinery zone. So what other buildings we're going to get? Well, we're going to get the petrochemical plant. We're going to get the waste oil refining plant. We're going to get the naphtha cracker plant. You know, larger tank areas as well. So let's think about maybe creating a bit of height difference. I think that would be unique and cool to do. I think we'll have a few options to run into some things as well. So let's find a good height difference. We'll say this one because this is kind of that 5 meter difference. So we'll right click there and then bring this brush out. And then we'll kind of create a bit of a strong line through here. Just like that. And we could even run it with a key. That could be cool. Now, I think maybe we need a few buildings here to kind of help ourselves find out where that line is going to be. So one of those buildings is going to be a warehouse, and particularly the warehouse yard. So it's smaller than that, okay? The next one is this one. So that is also smaller than this. So this is the largest building we're going to have. That's good to know. Let's get some keys in. So why a key? Well, it's going to act as like a retaining wall. And I think we're going to get one basically just straight from here to here. Pretty much right in front of this, this road right here. So let's actually just continue this road up the hill. Let's turn on our guidelines. Just like that, okay? And then now let's get that key. Awesome. Okay, so now because we have this in place, we have some really cool options available to us that we can start kind of going with. So now let's dive into the oil industry area again, and let's go with these, the oil sludge plants, paralysis plant. And we have a pretty good main road here. It splits into two different directions, including directly into the cargo station. So let's continue this a bit farther. Right to there. And then should we also make a connection into here? No, I don't think so. Let's run everything off of this road. All right. What other connections do we have? Oh, sorry. Let's first of all just get a couple of these guys in to start producing goods. So when it comes to the actual placement of the oil industry assets, I'm just not going to worry about it for this episode. When it comes to the main buildings, then for sure I'm worrying about where I'm placing them. But I really want to get this leveled up as soon as I can, because that's going to be really important in planning everything out, is where we're going to be placing these buildings. So we just need more workers, and now every building in place actually comes with some workers. So by placing more buildings, we're going to at least get to level 2, but otherwise we need to start thinking about the residential areas of the city. How we're going to get people into this area. However, that's going to be a deal for tomorrow's episode, hence why this whole week is going to be about this area. All right, so let's get some facilities in here. So this is a warehouse, and I think this looks pretty nice. I think maybe we can center it a bit better in here. There we go. And then this warehouse, since it's a bit of a larger one, what we can do is we can say put it on, what do we need? What's this one making? Petroleum? Okay, so this one will be on empty and will hold petroleum. All right, and this one over here, let's flip to this side, and then we'll bring this one in a little bit. Now I always like placing this asset right next to the cargo part of the cargo station, because I just think it looks fantastic. And then this one is going to be on empty as well, and this one's just going to be I guess it could be plastics, but we're gonna have plastics on the other side, but it's always good to have both on both sides. So let's put both on both sides. Okay, so I placed this one right here because I like I just said, I like having this one on the area where the cargo things are. But if you look closely, it kind of fits right in between here. So maybe we can say that these ones are being stored for later or something like that. If it doesn't end up working out, it doesn't end up working out. And that's okay with me. I will move it another time. Okay, so then this one is going to be on empty and then petroleum. And then we'll get a small warehouse over on this side. And it doesn't have to be right here, but I'm placing it here for now. This one, we're just going to pull it back a little bit, actually, to about right there. And then this one is going to be on empty and then plastics. So you see the larger one is, so this one's the larger one, plastics, because we're going to have plastics on this side. This one is petroleum because we have petroleum on this side. So, holy cow, lots of talking. Let's get these crude oil plants in a better position. So this one, for example, is going to go right here. Now, this is where we're going to get a little creative. Now, I am going to say that this idea came from Shukaboa, who's another member of the Skylines 6, and I think it is one of the coolest things ever. Now, I believe that Shukaboa mentioned that this has kind of been in the circles of vanilla City Skylines for a little while, but first time I personally saw it was in Shukaboa's Skylines 6 video, where they posted about all the shipyards and stuff. And Shukaboa is actually on a ship right now. Go check out Shukaboa's channel and show their channel support, because Shukaboa is going to be away working on a ship for a little while. So, you know, support their channel while they're away. So what are we doing here? Well, this is a monorail. Now, why do we have monorails going, Steven? This makes no sense. You have no monorails in the city at all. Well, they're pipelines. They look so much like pipelines, don't they? they, you know, they do look like monorails, of course, but it also looks like pipelines. So if you strategically place them, now this is a way to do it with mods. First time I saw it was done vanilla. If we get them in a strategic place inside of these assets, which again, we're going to move around, it'll look as if they're just pipelines for the cargo or for the oil in general, right? So I don't know how oil works, to be honest. I don't work on an oil rig. So we'll say that the oil comes out of that and then it goes into here. Now, technically, you could, if you're doing this, just say that the pipes are underground. But if we run it in like this, kind of looks like the oil is going into these pipes in here. I think we need to go a bit farther or elevate it. There we go. That looks pretty cool. And then, so we can do that a couple times. But then if we're also talking about the same idea here, so we'll say this one's going to be over on this side. And then we'll link this one together. Wait, why did that copy? I shouldn't have copied. Interesting. So we'll link these ones together by selecting building, and we'll just connect the fence. Like that. So now we have petroleum running into here. Now this is crude oil, but this can technically be petroleum if we want. Ta-da! So there we go. And then we could even run a pipeline somewhere else. So say we're shipping out crude oil. What we can do is we can run the pipes from some part of this facility. We'll just say it's from here. How about that? Just for this experiment, we'll say it's coming from the side of this facility here, and we'll bring it out like this, and then we'll bring it over the rails, and we'll say that maybe they fill up tankers this way with something. To be honest, I don't know how tankers are filled up, but maybe we can say that it looks something like this. At least what we're doing is translating a theme into our build, right? So that makes sense. It works. It fits. Definitely this road here would not have streetlights right there. So I'll bring this one over here, just like that. So yeah, there we go. Pipelines galore. Now let's bring this one over to here so we get a supporting beam. There we go. So I think this is going to be another theme that we're going to have throughout this area, is we're going to be running pipelines in a lot of places. Even across the rail yard as well, into this side of things. So maybe that's what this one does. Maybe instead of it filling up tankers, because I don't think that's how tankers get filled up, maybe we can just run this one across, and then we'll run it into crude oil storage on this side of the tracks. Just like that. So that's pretty cool. So now we're kind of saying that maybe this is creating petroleum. It's going into here and going across. So huge shout out to Shukaboa. Shukaboa is not even going to see this video, but please go show their channel support if you haven't already subscribed, because Shukaboa is part of the Skylines 6 and has really cool ideas like this. So their channel will be linked in the description as well. Okay, so there we go. Pretty cool little start, don't you think? We are just kind of waiting for the next level to occur. We have enough workers potential. We just need to wait for resources produced. So this is kind of where we're going to end today's video. It's just kind of getting started. It's a bit of a quicker one, I know, but I think maybe we can end with just a bit more road planning, because that's going to be really important for this area. So we're starting our oil industry. Good start. Maybe we can come up with a name for it. So let me just give me a second with this really quickly. Barber Oil Incorporated or Limited. Barber County is this side of the map. We've established that this is Prairie, County or something like that. To be honest, I forget the name. I think we wrote it down somewhere. Orton County, and then Barber County is on this side. So there we go. So let's get one more entrance into this facility, because right now we're running all of the traffic off of this one intersection, especially all the traffic from the highway. So why don't we run another connection over top of here into this section here, where we'll have another entrance that will also lead into Winslow. So this is also another good opportunity because we have already an established height over here, and then we also have a decent slope, we'll say. So first of all, let's choose a bridge. We'll just roll with this one. This is going to be the kind of like the secondary entrance into the area. So right through here, we'll run this. We'll go bridge, elevated. There we go. And then now we need to choose an entrance point off of the main highway. So again, it's rather steep, but I think our best bet is right in here for that. So let's go with a couple of roads. So I'm just going to build this section in a bit of a speed through. Okay, so yeah, there we go. We have the backup entrance into this area, and I suspect that a lot of this would not be the traffic for cargo. A lot of it is going to primarily be the traffic for, you know, cars and stuff like that, because that is a rather steep hill, but I'm pretty sure that that is fine of a hill for trucks to technically go on, but maybe it's just when they're empty or something like that. So we'll just do a bit more smoothing work, and then we'll have to call it a day. Good start to this. I'm definitely pleased with how this is looking. So we're just going to bring this out a little bit. Now I did terrace this part over here, but on this side I think we'll just leave it smooth. And then the reason why I buffed it out so much is because I would love it if we had some larger hills there. And then let's also try to erase this cut right here a little bit. Make it seem a bit more natural. Okay, so we have our backup entrance in here. There's one more slope I need to fix, which is this one right here. There we go. Now we can smooth this out properly. Okay, so the reason why we did that is because a lot of the oil, I think, is going to be out over here. If we look at our resources really quickly, that's not resources. This is resources. Tons of oil. So let's just cut this off really quickly, just to there. And then what we'll do is we'll run a rural road, and it'll be dirt. And we'll have this one come out to about here. And then following topography lines, what we'll do is we'll just kind of swing these out like that. And then maybe one over in here. And I think maybe we can get a couple more. And what this is going to signify is it's going to be where we're going to have some of our wells. Now I know they're pretty close to the railroads, but I think that's going to be fine for now. So we'll get a couple of these wells out in here. Okay, so Barber Oil Limited is now producing a ton of oil. Hopefully we're not going to be importing anymore, because that is expensive. We're losing money right now, but we have a ton of workers, and we're about to get to level 2. So I think we'll just sim until we get to level 2, and then we'll call it a day. And ta-da, there we go. So we got level 2 plant items. We'll deal with this in tomorrow's episode. We got the chemical plant, the small oil drilling rig, the household plastic factory, the workers barracks, and the crude oil storage cavern, which will play in real nicely with the pipelines, monorail lines really. But last thing we need to do is just delete these, because we don't need those anymore, because we got our oil extraction over in here. And I think there's a lot more we can do with this area. especially with using the new assets we have. Oh, one more little fix is this one right in here. We just need to slope properly. But wow, 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 what a fun start. Particularly like the terracing we have going on here. It's really fun, it's unique. And we'll get the plastics going on this side in tomorrow's video or Wednesday's video, and we'll also start maybe looking at Pulaski or Winslow or St. Paul. But yeah, there we have it, folks. The start of an oil industry. I hope you liked today's build. Real fun. There we go. I think this is a good little screenshot here. Have a good one. Peace out.